Now that we depend on everyone else for everything, any little hiccup that happens in some part of the world, everyone has to pay for. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start off really quick by saying thank you very much to all of you that participated in our live stream earlier today. It was a great time, and I am so very happy that we were able to do this for Autumn and her sister as well. All right, so let's get into this real quick, because as I've stated in the past, things that happen in other parts of the world affect us. Not necessarily because it's not happening right in front of your face. Doesn't mean that it's not going to affect your standard of living, or i.e. your purchasing power, ladies and gentlemen. So here, this article goes over how a Russian invasion of Ukraine, which is the breadbasket of Europe. I'm not sure if you all know that. I believe it's Ukraine and Russia that are the biggest wheat producers in all of Europe, could hit supply chains, not only for Europe, but could affect the supply chains here in the United States, around the world, therefore affecting prices that we pay at the store. I understand that we here in the United States, we do grow a lot of wheat and corn. However, ladies and gentlemen, the way that economics works is that whenever there's more pressure put on a specific item, it doesn't have to be wheat or corn, but just pick one. The more pressure that's put on that, meaning that the less that there is in the market, the more that other countries or someone else may want it, the more that that's going to go up in price. And it's been pretty self-evident here by the price of oil going up in the last week, that if we foresee a shorter supply of oil in the future, that the prices are going to go up pretty much immediately. So here it says that Russia is also the world's top wheat exporter. Together with Ukraine, they both account for around 1/3 of the global wheat export market. And China is a big recipient of the Ukraine corn. In fact, Ukraine replaced the US as China's top corn supplier in 2021. Russia and Ukraine are also big suppliers of metals and other commodities. While the European Union would be affected by the escalating crisis, Germany would be especially hit, and I would assume that Germany would be especially hit the hardest due to energy, because Germany, they depend a lot on energy. I believe it's from Russia. So how is it specifically going to affect us here in the West, ladies and gentlemen? Well, one of the things, like I already said, you're going to see oil prices going up. And when oil prices go up, it's going to affect you not only at the gas pump, but at the supermarket shelf. Why? Because energy pretty much runs everything. Oil and gas prices are set to spike further as the Russia-Ukraine crisis escalates. But the impact on energy won't be the only ramification. From wheat to barley and copper to nickel, supply chains are set to be disrupted as the crisis takes a turn for the worse. Ukraine is considered the breadbasket of Europe, and an invasion will result in the food supply chain getting hit hard. And as you can see the title of this video right here, it says Russian invasion of Ukraine could hit US consumers. I think that we can change the word could to will hit US consumers, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to affect pretty much everyone in the world. Again, the world runs on energy, ladies and gentlemen. If we cannot get the amount of corn or wheat that we, and when I say we, I mean the world, that we normally are used to getting from those two countries, how are we going to grow that? Well, it takes energy to grow those crops. And if Russia is one of the biggest exporters of energy on the planet, where are you going to get that energy from? So you can see that it's a snowballing effect. So things are going to considerably continue to go up in price, ladies and gentlemen. I've been saying this for a long time, even before this Ukraine and Russia crisis started. It's going to get worse for a long time, so the best time to prepare is right now. Russia and Ukraine are also big suppliers of metals and other commodities. Tensions between both countries reached fever pitch in the past few days, as the president of Russia ordered Kremlin forces into two pro-Russian separatist regions in eastern Ukraine, and we already know about that. It came after he said that Russia would formally recognize the independence of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. And these are the things that are going to be at risk, ladies and gentlemen, at least according to this columnist. Food security. Ukraine produces wheat, barley, and rye that much of Europe relies on, analysts said. It's also a big producer of corn. And I keep going back to supply and demand. If Europe cannot rely on Ukraine for those products anymore, where are they going to get it from? That is where the pressure on price comes in. Because as they go out to the broader market, meaning the market that does not include Ukraine or Russia, it is going to be pressure on those supplies, making sure that prices continue to go up. Even though harvesting season is still a few months away, a prolonged conflict could create bread shortages and increase consumer prices this fall. In a way, it's good news. It gives us time to prepare. That they're forecasting that it is this fall because the harvesting season has yet to begin. In fact, it's not just the European Union that will be hit. Many nations in the Middle East and Africa also rely on Ukrainian wheat and corn, and disruptions to that supply could affect food security in those regions. If they rely on Ukraine and Russia for their food, where are they going to go to if they can't get it from those sources, ladies and gentlemen? They're probably going to go here to the U.S., they're going to go to Brazil, they're going to go to Argentina, all of these other South American, countries that produce those grains. And what's going to happen to the price of those things for us? Now, when I just say grains, don't think that it just affects the rice and wheat that you buy. It's going to affect everything. Corn, rice, wheat. These are staples throughout the production or the processing of foods all over the world. Corn, in my opinion, being the grain that is used the most in different products. China is also a big recipient of Ukraine corn. In fact, Ukraine replaced the U.S. as China's top corn supplier in 2021. Maybe, this is just me thinking out loud. But you know how for like the last year and a half to 2 years, China has been importing extremely large amounts of food and stockpiling it in their country, whereas now they probably have like enough, corn and wheat and soybean to last their country about a year and a half. So they've been stockpiling. They've been prepping, ladies and gentlemen. I wonder if they knew that something like this was going to happen, or I wonder if they forecasted that something like this was going to happen, because all of a sudden they start importing all this extra food just about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I wonder what they knew that made them do that. It continues to say here, wheat and corn prices were already soaring. Wheat futures traded in Chicago have jumped about 12% since the start of this year, and that was before this conflict began, while corn futures spiked 14.5% during the same period. Some inflation has been rising and could worsen if an armed conflict erupts, which it already has. And rising food prices would only be exacerbated with additional price shocks, especially if core agricultural areas in Ukraine are seized by Russian loyalists. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be priced out of the food market. And what I mean by we, I don't mean me personally, but I mean people that are now just hanging on just enough to put food on the table. I remember saying this months and months ago. I've done a couple of videos about it, that people were eventually going to have to choose whether to heat their homes or put food in their bellies. And here in Europe, it's happening now. I see that coming to the United States, because not only with the prices of food going up are people going to be priced out of the food market, but also with the price of energy going up as well. People are going to have to start putting their thermostats down in the winter and up in the summer. Together, Russia and Ukraine supply about 1/3 of the wheat export market for the world. We already went over that. And it says here that any disruptions to natural gas supply would in turn affect the production of energy-intensive products such as fertilizers. So, ladies and gentlemen, if Russia ceases to export fertilizers, oh my goodness, that is going to be, in my opinion, catastrophic. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you that if you are not preparing, this is the time for you to prepare. It is not going to harm you if nothing happens. If you have an extra couple of months, 3 months, go crazy. Do a year worth of food in your house. It's not going to take up that much room. Please watch some of my videos where I showcase my prepper pantry. It's 72 square feet of space where I have enough calories to feed a family of 4 for over a year. It doesn't take that much room. Don't make any excuses as to why you should not be getting prepared. Get prepared, not for doomsday, but for your family. Now here we go on to the next set of items that may be affected and more than likely will be: metals and raw materials. Ukraine has steadily increased its exports over the years and is now a huge provider of raw materials, chemical products, and even machinery like transportation equipment. It's also a major supplier of minerals and other commodities. Ukraine's currency began declining in value since Russian troops started gathering at the border. This will increase the cost of their exports. And it will increase the cost of their exports to them, ladies and gentlemen, because as their currency goes down, they get less dollars or less foreign currency for whatever product they are selling. Meaning what? What I've been telling you all this time about inflation, that it is a theft of your labor. So it's going to take them more labor to earn the same amount of international money as it did before. And why is that important? Because for them, international money is what they need, meaning dollars or other currencies from other countries. They need that in order for them to import the things that they need. So as their exporting goes down in nominal value, their imports are going to cost more in nominal value, meaning that they're going to have to provide more of their labor in order to get the same of things that they imported before. I hope that made sense. Russia also controls about 10% of global copper reserves and is a major producer of nickel and platinum. Nickel is a key raw material used in electric vehicle batteries, and copper, widely seen as an economic bellwether, is extensively used in electronics manufacturing and construction of homes. The U.S. chip industry heavily relies on Ukrainian-sourced neon, and Russia also exports a number of elements critical to the manufacturing of semiconductors, jet engines, automobiles, and medicines. This is going to affect everything. What have I said in the past? What is the only thing that war brings? Ladies and gentlemen, it brings nothing but sorrow. Not only for the people that have to fight in a war, but pretty much for the whole world. Especially in the times that we live, where our world is so intertwined. People, not people in general, but some people hawk at nationalism or patriotism, or in other words, a person saying, we should take care of our own country. We should build the things that we need here for us. We should grow or raise the things that we need here for us. And whatever there is in excess, then we can export. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, that is the right model. Why is that? Because look at how much this crisis between two countries is going to affect the entire world. You know, now that we depend on everyone else for everything, any little hiccup that happens in some part of the world, everyone has to pay for. And then every country feels like they have to participate in that conflict because in one way or another, that conflict does not benefit them. Whereas if every country relied on itself first and foremost, and then was able to share with the world through exports their excesses, I believe we would be better off. But that's my opinion, so I digress. While most of the European Union would be affected by the escalating crisis, Germany would be especially hit hard. And I'm going to take a wild guess here. It's going to be because of energy. But let's see. Germany derives most of its energy needs for manufacturing and electricity from the natural gas it gets from Russia. If tensions continue to rise and we see an increase in disruptions due to a potential war or sanctions, it would hold back manufacturing production in Germany. Factories would need to curtail production, which would cascade to manufacturing in other countries. Top exports from Germany include autos, auto parts, other transport equipment, electronics, metals, and plastics. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're preparing, all right? I hope you're preparing not for war, but like I said, not for doomsday, but for your family. Because let me tell you what, I haven't gone on a rant in a long time, I think. But let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to go on a rant, okay? The government doesn't care about you. If you think that the government cares about you, if you think that the government cares whether you are fed or not, I'll tell you what, you really need to take a look around and see what's going on. I'm going to work on a video. Maybe I'll post it tomorrow on Sunday or maybe on Monday. But the video, if I remember the name right, is Clive and Tiven or something like that. But I'm going to work on that video. I have to look up the information so that you can see exactly how far, at least here, our nation, and then you can relate our nation to other nations around the world, how far down the line we are, or how close the train is to the brick wall. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you very much for all of you that participated in our live stream today. Tomorrow, we're going to have our regular live stream at 12 noon Alaska time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So tomorrow on Sunday, we'll see you there. It'll just be a hangout, okay? I'm going to try to keep any doom and gloom out of it so that we can have a good time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I truly do appreciate all of you that come here and watch my videos. Thank you very much to all of you that have actually made the Alaska Prepper community what it is, which I know I'm a little bit biased, but I feel it's the best community on YouTube. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.